So the way I made this one is I swapped some stuff out because the CMCs were too large. So I took out like Mending of Dominaria and I put in like Binding of the Titans.
Okay.
So Satyr Enchanter, whenever I cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. I'm debating whether I want to actually swap that back out with Elvish Archivist because this says when it enters, I get to draw a card. And it only triggers once per turn. So I don't know if that's worth that because I can cast a lot, right? So I don't know. I have 3 cards. There's the green version, the white version, and this is the green and white version.
Oh, the Satyr, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's the Mesa Enchantress, the Viridian Enchantress, and then my best friend, who I've known since I was 16, quit playing Magic, and I asked him if he had a spare Argothian, and he did.
No.
And so he gave me that. Which
That's
is a
good
baller
cop,
card,
dude. Wow, that is ball, and it's got a story for you too. I love when Magic cards have stories. Of, like,
yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. So Doomwake Giant lets you do the ETB -1/-1. Grim Guardian, every time something ETBs, everyone loses a life. This one, Eidolon of Blossoms came with the deck ETBs. Battle for Retagard, I put that back in because I can make tokens. Like if I have Anikthea making tokens and I have like 3 or 4 different ones, I can make a bunch of copies with this and then I can bring it back of itself. And then I can, the funny thing is with this card is if you get to 3 and you made it with Anikthea, it'll make a copy of itself.
Can we get that on the screen more? Let me see that. That's
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
It'll make Battle for Retagard. So what it'll do is it makes a human warrior and then an elf warrior. So it gives you a chump blocker a turn. But then in the third one, it'll copy both of those chump blockers if you still have them, and then it'll make a copy of itself before it dies. So if I have a copy of, let's say, Blind Obedience, because I brought it back from the graveyard, right? It'll make a second copy of Blind Obedience.
That is bogus.
It's a token. Because Anikthea is making tokens, and so.
And what is Anikthea's ability, real quick, just for all the folks at home?
So she's a white, green, black, and 2 colorless. She's a 4/4 menace. Other enchantment creatures I control have menace. Whenever she ETBs or attacks, I exile up to 1 non-aura enchantment from my graveyard. Make a token copy of it, except it's a 3/3 black zombie in addition to its other types. So it'll take, for example, this Battle for Retagard, and it'll turn it into a 3/3 zombie with menace, because she gives it menace. And then it just keeps going. And so the way I'm getting advantage is I'm playing things like Blind Obedience to make you have stuff tapped. Then I'm playing things like Stesson Champion for when things enter.
Card.
Yeah. +1/+1, get a counter. Now, this is some of the tech that I did last week. There's this card called Whip Silk, and it's an aura. I have 3 auras in this deck, okay? I'm going to whip them out real quick. I have that one.
Okay.
I have, let's see, I have that one. I have, which one's the one that gives +2 and trample? What's it called again? It's old. I'll see it in a second. I have Strength of the Harvest, which gives creatures +1/+1 for each enchantment and or creature I control.
We played a game with this deck, and that card did you so much work. It was so much value.
Yes, it did. Yeah. And then I added Rancor, because when Rancor is put into the graveyard for play, return it to my hand. So the reason I added this tech right here, the Whip Silk, is because if I have things that let me draw cards off casting an enchantment, like Enchantment's Presence or Mesa Enchantress, what I can do is it effectively says, okay, I paid a green, I cast it, so I get the draw card. Then I can pay a green to return it again, and then I can pay a green to cast it and draw another card.
Oh my god.
If I have multiple things that say every time something enters, you draw a card, or every time you cast it, you draw a card, I'm effectively drawing like multiple cards at once for the 1 or 2 mana that I'm paying, right?
And that's Whip Silk, Setessan Champion, and then what would be the third card that would do that for you?
Well, the Whip Silk and any other enchantment that says when it enters or you cast it, or you cast an enchantment, draw a card. So I'm just bringing this back to my hand over and over again and recasting it.
Oh my god.
So Eidolon of Blossom says when an enchantment enters, draw a card. So there's Whip Silk. So if I have both of these out, I pay 1 mana, I put them out, I get to draw 2 cards for 1 green. I return it back to my hand, that's another green. I play it, that's 3 green total, and I've drawn 4 cards. It's
Yo.
almost as good as the Harmony, but it
Old
can be
Smoke
better.
Packs has to take a note on that.
Yeah. Then I put some mean shit in here, like Dictate of Erebos and Grave Pact.
Oh
And
my
that's
god.
like that's like to not encourage you to kill my shit. And then for things like the Eldest Reborn, which came with the deck, there's certain things like I put Anointed Procession in here so I can make 2 tokens.
Yep.
And then like Sterling Grove to give everything. That's like my one tutor in the deck, Sterling Grove. And then
That's
I
strong
also
one.
added Crewfix's Insight because I was like, man, I'm having a hard time drawing. It's 3 mana. Reveal the top 6 cards of your library. Put 3 enchantment cards from it in your hand, and the rest in your graveyard.
Mhm.
So this will let me filter through 6 cards, and even if I get 6 enchantments, I put 3 in my hand and 3 in the graveyard. That's a win for me.
You want
even if I
enchantments
don't-
in the graveyard anyways.
Exactly. And I want to put in Ripples of Undeath in here, and I'm not sure what to cut, but eventually I do want to put that in here because it'll mill me 3 cards, and if I need something, I can just pay the 1 land.
Mhm.
Now, here's the cool part. So, in addition to that, I do have defensive spells, which I love. I think you've seen some of these. You did, because I think we played 2 games, and that one dude was going after me like really hard.
Yeah.
And so
And you overcame, bro. That was crazy. You were the bad guy for a minute, though.
Yeah, well, the dude with the food deck ended up winning because we all ignored him, and that, like I told him, I was like, you can only do that once.
Oh, that's my boy Dan. He was on last week's show.
Yeah,
Shout out
yeah,
Dan.
Yeah. What's up, Dan? So I have these defensive cards in this deck, which, Commander is about combat sometimes. So I have a Sphere of Safety. I have the Ghostly Prison, so if you want to attack me. Then I have Culling Ritual, which is like a really amazing wipe. I have Heroic Intervention. I have Carpet of Flowers for ramp.
Classic.
I have Obscuring Haze to play for free. So this is my suite of like defense. If I have my commander, you saw me play this, I play a Fog for free.
Yeah.
Then if I want, I can play Silence and no one can cast anything, so I can end the game. Or
I didn't know
try to
you
win.
had silence. That's mean.
Yeah. Then I have Rootborn Defenses, which is populate and creatures I control get indestructible till the end of the turn. Then I have Ink Shield. If you really have a boner, I'm gonna make you regret it. Then I have a Chroma's Will, which is like a game ender, because if I have my commander, everything gets protection from everything. Double strike, flying, blah blah blah, and lifelink.
Classic ender.
Yeah. Then I have Mandate of Peace, which is one of my favorite cards. That one just says fuck your combat phase and pretty much end the turn after that because you can't do anything.
You played that. That was psycho. I never knew that card existed, and I was like, what?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that card. No. And then I also have Batwing Broom, which says prevent all damage that would be dealt if you paid a white. And then each player loses 1 life for each attacking creature if you played a black. So I've actually Batwing Broomed a guy who was doing a Crater Hoof for like 16. And I Batwing Broomed him and made him lose like 16 life, and then he conceded because he was like at 3. And I was like, yeah. So I really like Ink Shield, obviously Mandate of Peace, and Batwing Broom, and Obscuring Haze, because they're things that people don't expect in a deck like this. And there's this one card, Angelic Renewal. If any creature is put into your graveyard from play, you can sacrifice this and put the creature back into play. So the deck tech here is if I have Anikthea out with this, if she dies for whatever reason, I sacrifice this, I bring her back, and she'll bring this back on ETB anyway, or something else.
So much recursion, that's crazy.
Yeah, I enjoy recursion decks a lot. The same thing happens with Sterling Grove. If I sack it and I search for something, I just get it back. If I can copy the Eldest Reborn, or anything like that, like Binding of the Titans, the one that destroys when it ETBs and then ramps me. A Binding of the Old Gods. If I can copy these, I pretty much can control the board.
Those are just uncommons, dude.
Yeah, they're very good though. Like the first part of each of them is like very good. it destroys something or makes you sacrifice, and then it makes you discard, and then I ramp. And then I get recursion from the 3 on this, so I can bring back a planeswalker or a creature from anyone's graveyard.
Yeah.
And then the other search I have is Defense of the Heart, which is a proxy because I have assigned one in Dina.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I'll get Demon of Fate's Design and like Ondu Spirit Dancer. So Ondu Spirit Dancer says when an enchantment ETBs, I can make a token copy of it. I can only do it once per turn. So for whatever reason, if there's an enchantment that ETBs under anyone else's turn, I can make a copy of it on my turn. And this guy lets me cast enchantments by paying life, and I can sacrifice enchantments. So he's like an all-star. He has flying trample. He can sacrifice enchantments so I can bring them back. I can cast things with my life. This is like an all-star card.
That is neat. That's precon too.
Yeah. And then I have Seal of Cleansing and Seal of Removal, so those are really good, and they come back. I have Greater Good in case you want to wipe. I'm going to draw a bunch of cards and put them in my graveyard anyway, so that helps me. And it's an enchantment. I have Archon of the Sun's Grace.
Classic.
And then, yeah, the last game we played, Boon of the Spirit Realm, was really doing work because enchantments were entering, and I just kept putting dice on it, and nobody did anything about it.
Oh, yeah.
I was just swinging it for like 14.
That game, just real quick, I've learned so much, especially since playing with Yuki Yoshi and last week Dan on the feature. Just all the people I've met online have helped me improve my deck's interactions to stop you guys. Because you're right, no one did anything to do that. If I had more options, I could have.
The internet will teach you because they don't care, right? You're not your friends. They're looking to win. Oh, and Orm's Chant, I forgot about that.
No, I agree with that.
You can't cast spells. Like, they'll teach you to play way better. Way better.
Yeah.
And then where's the other one? The Ajani's Chosen. So the Ajani's Chosen and the Archon of Sun's Grace, they both say on ETB this guy makes flying Pegasi with lifelink, and this guy makes 2/2 white tokens. So they're ramping me every time I'm playing an enchantment. Not even playing, every time an enchantment enters. So if Anikthea enters, I make a token. If she attacks, I make a token in addition to the other token. So this is the stuff that like it overwhelms. So this is weak to like multiple board wipes. If you make Anikthea cost like 9 or something somehow, I'm gonna have a hard time.
Oh wow.
I took Elvish Archivist out, and I took Springheart Nantuko out because I was like, okay, I'm playing this guy, then I have to depend on a land drop. Then I have to pay 2 to make a token of whatever I put him on. So and then when the creature dies, he just becomes a 1/1.
Yeah.
So I thought I would try him out, but he's not doing much for me. And so I took him out.
Yeah.
I'm still debating on the Elvish Archivist. I might put it back in.
What does Elvish Archivist do?
Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under my control, put 2 counters on this. And whenever an enchantment comes under my control, draw a card, but they each only happen once per turn.
Okay.
And I only have 1 artifact in this deck, and it's Soul Ring. Everything else is creatures or enchantments. It's a very enchantment heavy deck.
I feel like these two are really negative synergy, just because they're gonna fill space, you know.
Yeah, that's why I was comfortable with cutting it. This is okay. The once per turn thing, if I don't have anything to cast, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I have other things that say on cast and ender that are just better than this. The only thing that's good about this is almost an Argothian Enchantress, but once per turn. It's almost. But I have the Argothian, so it's like, why even have this? Yeah. I mean, for redundancy, sure, but I have the Enchantress's Presence and other stuff too. It's a fun deck.
Damn. So that's the deck. That's all. That's the whole build, huh?
Yeah.
That was
mostly,
mean.
You know, Sithis. You know, gain a life, draw a card.
Okay.
Here's the Opalescence, Heroic Intervention.
Shout out.
Read the Bones, because Read the Bones is amazing. Mirari's Wake, because that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty much like, I know you're going to come after me, so I have to stop that, but I also want to come after you. And Starfield of the Nyx is actually a second Opalescence here. So, for 1 more mana, I actually get to bring an enchantment back into play. And I was doing that one game. I was
were
like,
every
okay,
upkeep.
Well, yeah, every upkeep I was bringing it back. And so, as long as I control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment is a creature in addition. This says all of them. each other global enchantment. So that means also non-aura, because I'm sure they eroded that.
Oh yeah.
So these are effectively the same card. This just has a bonus. So if I have it with Parallax, I can do the same thing with Starfield as Opalescence as long as I control 5
Parallax Wave, right?
Yeah.
That would be mean. That would be awesome. You don't have Parallax Wave in here though, right?
No, I do.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in here. Yeah, it's in there. Let me pull it out. I have Sphere of Safety also, which also did work that game, but
Yeah.
here's the beat up Parallax Wave. But yeah, they work real good together.
Wow, cool, dude.
Yeah, and I think this was like $10 when I bought it. This was like $10 when I bought it. So I think I upgraded the deck.
Now it's CEDH because of the prices, bro.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't count the Argothian, because I didn't buy it, that was a gift for my bro. I mean, it's a $40 card though, so I guess you could count that if you wanted to put it in the deck list, right? If you were gonna copy it completely, that's $40. This is 50, 60. The Sphere of Safety was a secret lair I bought because I love Johannes Voss art, so that was 50, and I put a couple of those cards in here. I'd say you can upgrade this. Even if you didn't want to do that, if you didn't want to spend $100, you could make this deck like super fucking mean for like $30 in upgrades.
Oh my god. This is just all precon too.
Most of it is precon. Every precon I take, I do cut the land amounts because they do like 39 lands, and that's just too much.
That is too much, yeah. But it's probably on purpose to help get like building, you know?
Yeah. And so I cut like 6 lands and I go to 33 or 34. If it's not green, 35. And then if I'm really greedy, like I'm playing high power, like Muldrotha only has like 32 lands.
Wow.
I think my Elf Ball deck only has like 29 because it's Elf Ball and it doesn't care. But this is fun. It can be a slow burn. It depends on what you get. But a lot of my decks are like this too, though. Like it's like, do you have interaction? And if the answer is no, you're gonna have a bad time.
Exactly.
And that's what I was getting to my point. Like the internet will teach you. I started running more interaction when I played games online because people were murdering me, and I started having to play better because people were ruthless because they were coming into tables and they were looking to win.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they were CDH decks, but the mentality of like I'm here to win a game was definitely there.
Oh yeah, you're virtual. It's not as in person as it should be, and even the nicest people who are like, "Hey, I'm here to win. Let's be friends." That's most of the people that's like almost all the people in the Magic the Gathering division of the Pack Boys community. It's all people I met who were just like taught me stuff. Were playing bogus cards, but weren't like sore winners, and were just like people that had, like we've been saying, just vast knowledge. And hearing you say that's kind of funny. It's like now I'm going through it.
Yeah, you will. So this is a sample hand that I would never keep because there's no green, even though I have a Kodama's Reach. This is an awful hand.
Yeah.
So we're gonna mull that. It's 2 lands and no green. If I have green ramp and I have a green land, I might keep it. But it's tough. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see.
3 Molly?
Just want to show. This is the free one. So this has my command tower, my scrubland, my swamp, and my forest. And I have a dictate, a satyr enchanter, and a battle of the Hail Vault. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd keep this. Grasp of Fate. Okay, so turn 1, command tower. Turn 2 would be the forest. Turn 3 would be the scrubland. And if I need to, I'm definitely playing the satyr enchanter first because I have a Grasp of Fate and nobody knows I have that, right?
No.
So then they're gonna whip something out. Maybe turn 4, I can fuck them with it. Draw. There's the Anointed Procession. That's fine. I can forest. Wait. Turn 3, turn 4. Then we do a Grasp of Fate. I draw a card. Alright, so now I have Grave Pact and Dictate and Anointed Procession and Battle. So I have like the next 4 plays, unless I draw something interesting, played out. So you go to turn 5, you drop a forest, but I have a Verdant Catacombs, so I can, if I really want to shuffle, I can.
Ooh.
We can play a forest, and then we can do We can flash in a Dictate at the end of the turn to draw a card because they won't see that coming. We drew into a Flooded Strand. We can draw a card, and okay, so I drew an Enchantment Triome, which I don't want to do right now. I actually want to crack one of my fetches and get a land, and the reason I want to do that is because I want to play my 6-drop, which is the Battle of the Hell Vault.
There we go.
And then I draw a card for casting, and I get a Plains 3/4. So turn 6, I'm looking okay. Maybe I'm getting swung at, but I really don't care. But I'm not a super threat, but I am being annoying by exiling stuff, right?
Yeah.
So draw a card. This goes to 2. So at this point, I want to whip out Anointed Procession because next turn I'm going to make an Avacyn token, which I'll make 2 of. One will die. This will die, but I'll play Anikthea to bring it back, and then I'll have 2 Battle of the Hell Vaults to make it like super disgusting. So we play that. You draw a card. I get a Seal of Primordium. I'm gonna cast the Seal of Primordium, draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I have defense. I have a Greater Good that I drew into now, so cool. I untap, I draw a card, I have an Obscuring Haze. Battle of the Hell Vault goes to the graveyard. I make 2 Avacyns, one of them dies immediately. But here's my 8/8 Flying Vigilance Indestructible. I don't really need a land right now, so I'm going to play this Enchantment Triome tapped. I have 6 mana to work with. In my hand, I don't really have anything to cast besides Anikthea or Obscuring Haze or Greater Good if I really need, but I don't. So I'm going to want to go for Anikthea 100%. So because I'm doing that, I cast her. She will enter. Battle of the Hell Vault would come in, but I'll make another one because of Anointed Procession. So now I've exiled 2 things from each player. So at this point, they're not going to have a good time.
No.
And then I draw a card for Satyr Enchanter, which is a culling ritual. And next turn, if I really want, I can blow excuse me, everything up. But I might not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to discard Grave Pact because I'm going to want to reanimate it next turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Untap, draw. We're pretty much getting in a late game. Plains. This goes to 2. I'm going to want to cast Greater Good because I'm going to want to sack the 8-drop in a second. I'm going to draw a card.
And this is way late game. We're at probably like what, turn 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So turn 8, someone should be getting marked at some point, right?
Yeah.
Then at that point, if I want, I can cast Crewfix's Insight, reveal the top 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's kind of a whiff because I missed my Ink Shield and I missed my Mandate of Peace for that. That's the risk you take.
Yeah.
But
and you deconstructed the deck too and shuffled it back, I think, right?
Yeah. But I get 3. I get Angelic Renewal, Binding of Titans, and Enchantress's Presence. So if I want those, I can have them back. And then at that point, I would... Let's see, I've played 3 things. If I want Seal of Primordium back, I can sack it, blow something up, and bring it back. Or I can bring back Grave Pact.
And
at that point, I can swing, bring back Grave Pact. Then I can do like a Binding of Titans and Angelic Renewal and draw 2, 1, 2. I got the Archon's Grace and the Overgrown Tomb. So at this point, if I sack my Angel token, I make everyone sack 2 creatures. So I draw 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll get all this stuff and I have to discard 3. So I'm just going to discard 3 lands. And I'm going to go to discards anyway because I have so many cards in hand.
Nice.
Look at all that card advantage. Right.
Damn, bro.
So at this point, I've used these 4 mana. And I can keep... Starfield of Nyx. I can keep Archon of Sun's Grace. I don't need Enchantress's Presence.
Once you get to Starfield, it's over.
Yeah, I think so. Then I can make more tokens with Rootborn Defenses, whichever I want. And then once the next the battle goes to whatever, I'll make 2 Avacins. One of them will die, so everyone has to sack 2 creatures anyway.
Damn.
And yeah, so if no one's doing anything about this, every turn I'm outvaluing the board unless they wipe. And then
I get what you're saying. A board wipe would like really hurt you, especially if your enchantments are creatures by that point. It would really hurt you. But a second one would just totally end the game.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I have to look at like the wipes that I was getting that one game were at opportune times too.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, board wipe, and Dan did not care because his commanders were so cheap. Like I'm starting with 5, and that's the thing, man. You start off with 5, you gotta go 7 the second time unless you have recursion of some sort. It's tough.
And putting in artifact stuff for protection into an enchantment deck is kind of maybe off synergy or maybe hitting things. I think you could find a balance. The deck is powerful though, and it does hit. And you got all the cards you need. My only recommendation, finding you already do have a tutor, but maybe adding an idyllic so you can get straight into like an opalescence. Something that's gonna let you get into hitting the opalescence play, or your whip silk into testing champion. You know, one of those 2 plays.
Yeah, the lack of tutors is on purpose.
Yeah, I mean it would be broken otherwise. I get it. Yeah.
The lack of tutors is totally on purpose. Like my tryhard deck, Muldrotha, has Vampiric Tutor, Intuition, Demonic Tutor. I'm thinking about putting Realms Uncharted back into it. Like there's a bunch of stuff that like it has like a Urza Saga, which even if I put that in here, the only thing I could get is like a Soul Ring, so I don't even put that in there. The only thing that I would want to put in here that would be stupid and people would not like is probably a Sarah Sanctum. It's like a $250 card though.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, it's not worth it to me. Like I own reserve list cards, but I only put them in like I buy them with like I have like 5 decks that can do Golgari, so my Bayou goes into like 5 decks. That's like efficiency to me. Like if I bought a Sarah Sanctum, it would be only for this deck.
Okay. Well,
and
Dan,
it wouldn't even be worth it.
Shout out Dan. We keep bringing up the boy Dan, but I think we're all remember his Lord of the Rings food deck.
Yeah.
Hack Boys, we all been playing cards together lately the last couple of days. Getting to know each other, so it's been really fun. Going Master 420, him and his boys, I was playing with him. There are some new beginner players too in the community. Just getting to meet everyone and seeing their play styles has been really funny. And mixing personalities together. We had a game with the boys, and he brought out a deck that I think we need to get on in the next segment for next time. I won't get too much into it, but it is a cool deck. It was really funny. That being said, Kiyoshi, really appreciate you for coming on the segment and bringing out the deck, explaining it, bringing the physical cards too. I think was a really great option. It's how Deck of the Week originally started when I did it with my IRL friends. So this was a good throwback to an old school segment for the show. So thank you, bro.
Thank you.